Hi, I'm Ben, one of the engineers from Rola. Today we're going to show you how to put a ridge mount and Titan tray onto Prado 150. The tools you'll need are a plastic clip remover. You can use a screwdriver with some tape on the end of it, a knife to open packaging, measuring tape, 13mm spanner, 6mm Allen key. The long one with the ball on the end is the ideal Allen key to help you fit the ridge mount. Phillips head screwdriver, 10mm socket and a 12mm socket. Butyl mastic silicone to help seal up the anchor points. A rag for cleaning the roof and a mallet or a block of wood, something to help you tap some of the things into place. And that's all the tools you need. I've removed all the parts from the box. We've got the tray on the ground there, got the ridge mounts left and right, stud plates, interconnecting blocks, fastener kit and the fitting instructions. The first thing we need to do is remove the vehicle roof rails off the roof of the car. You can use a plastic tool or a screwdriver with some tape over it to remove the rails, the caps off the rails, so you can access the bolts that are holding them onto the roof. I've got a 12mm socket and a 10mm socket, which we need to pull the bolts out of the roof so we can rail from the roof of the car. Once you've removed the rail from the roof of the car, I'm going to use a rag now to just clean around the anchor points. Now I'm going to attach the stud plates to the ridge mounts, then we'll get the fasteners for the ridge mounts and put them onto the roof of the car. So first thing is take one of the stud plates and line it up with the holes of the ridge mount, and then we'll put the washer and nut on there. I've put the stud plate through the holes on the ridge mount. Just make sure you line it up with the correct holes. There should be really only two that it'll fit through. Then place a washer and the nylock nut onto each of the threads of the stud plates and tighten them into place. So I've got a 13mm socket and I'm just going to tighten up all the nylock nuts with the stud plates. It can be a good idea to not tighten them all the way, just leave them slightly loose until you put the tray on and just make sure everything lines up properly. Now I'm just going to repeat the process for the other side, attaching the stud plates with the washer and nylock nut. Now I'm going to prepare all the bolts to attach the ridge mount to the roof of the vehicle. I'm just going to put the spring washer and the flat washer in and get them all ready to go. So the next step is to put the ridge mounts on the roof of the vehicle. The ridge mounts have direction arrows and a side indicator. So this is the right one, this is forwards with the arrow. When you put the ridge mount onto the roof, we'll take some rubber washers which will go underneath the ridge mount. Not all vehicles need rubber washers, so just check your fitting instructions and kit If you have the rubber washers, then you can put them down first and that'll just help seal up the anchor point. Now I'm going to take the butyl mastic silicone and I'm going to put a little bit into each of the anchor point holes. I've got a little bit of cardboard from the box and a rag just to help me keep it clean around the area I'm working. So I've got the butyl mastic silicone in each of the anchor points. Now I'm going to take the ridge mount with fasteners and attach it onto the roof of the vehicle. On this one it's got 3 locations that we're attaching it with 2 bolts on each location. I'm going to start with the middle one just to help stabilize it, then I can move to the outsides. So I've just put the fasteners into the anchor points by hand and I'll do the final tighten with a 6mm Allen key. It's good to have a really long one with the ball on the end because it makes it a bit easier to get in on an angle to tighten this all up. So for this fitment, I'm attaching the stud plates to the ridge mount first and then putting it all onto the car. Some fitments it's better to leave the stud plates off and put the ridge mount onto the car first so that you can use the stud plate holes to get a long Allen key like this one with the ball on the end in and tighten up the anchor points on the vehicle. Another good trick when it gets a bit tight to get the tools in is you can cut down an Allen key so it's got a really short end to it, which helps you get in behind and tighten up the bolts. You don't have to do that, but I just find it helps make it a bit easier. If you've bought a brand new tray to go with your ridge mount, you hopefully have already installed your interconnecting blocks into the tray. However, if you have an existing tray that you're wanting to transfer onto a new set of ridge mounts, then what you'll need to do is just take this end extrusion off using a Phillips head screwdriver, just undo the bolts, and then we can slide these interconnecting blocks in between the planks. And we'll put this end extrusion back on and then we can put the tray on the roof. Right, now we've put the interconnecting blocks in the center of the tray. I'm just going to approximately space out the mounting blocks so it roughly aligns with what we've got up on the ridge mount. I'll use a tape measure to measure that. And then once they're spaced out, we can lift the tray on top. Now I'm going to lift the tray onto the car. This is probably a 2-person job at least, so get a friend to help you lift the tray onto the roof of the car. The tray is roughly in place on the roof now. I've lined up the mounting blocks with the stud plates. I'll get the fasteners and I'll just thread them in so that they're nearly tight but not quite fully tightened. And then I'll align the tray so it's straight and do the final bit of tightening up of the fasteners. When you're installing the tray, it's really important to make sure that these mounting blocks are all on this last side, just between the outer extrusion and the first plank. Make sure you have them in the correct position on this outer space here, because these mounting blocks are what also holds on this side rail. So it's crucial that they're in the right spot. You don't want to put them inboard. Make sure they're out here, and that will hold the side rail on. If you're doing a different fitment, not a ridge mount, then there's other ways of mounting them where you can put them in there with a side support block. But on the ridge mounts, they should always be sitting outside on this furthest out position. I've gone around and checked all the fasteners tight. We centered the tray on the ridge mount, so it all looks really nice. And that's the end of installing the ridge mount with the Titan tray.